Time. Hello, judges. I'm Matt Foster. I'm representing Calder's Coffee in St. Louis, Missouri, and I am super excited to be here today to be able to brew your coffee. I'm going to go ahead and get started on that for you right away. And while I do, I'd like to share with you an experience I had this past year that really speaks towards why I love our industry as much as I do. So for me, one of the best things about working in coffee is how multifaceted it is. And this quality was infinitely useful this past year as I made the transition from the retail side to the wholesale side of Caldy's. You see, in retail, I was training our baristas, and I was serving guests who were coming into our cafes looking to drink our coffee. And so it was relatively simple to be able to make a connection with these people who already had, if not a passion for coffee, then maybe at least a passing interest. Like you find judges here today. I'll bet that your eyes won't roll into the back of your heads when I share some detailed information with you about this coffee. For instance, the coffee I have for you today is going to be a beautiful coffee that was produced at the Ichimama factory located in the Nyeri region of central Kenya. The factory sits at just over 1,700 meters and is comprised of the varieties SL34, SL28, Ruiru, 11, and Batiai. There's some more detailed information about the factory on the info cards that I've provided in front of you, and so I encourage you to go ahead and peruse that at your leisure. For your recipe today, I'll be brewing your coffee with 20 grams of sifted coffee and 300 grams of water. And later in my brewing, I'm going to be reintroducing a half gram of the fines that I sifted out, and I'm doing this to ensure that they don't over-extract and to add complexity to the cup. I'm also brewing your coffee steeper because I believe that the immersion method fosters a nice, even, and consistent extraction. And I'll then be filtering your coffee through these cloth filters, which I've chosen for the balance of both flavor clarity and body that they bring to the cup. And speaking of the cup, when I serve you, you can expect to find in the aroma notes of caramel and golden raisin, flavors of caramel and stone fruit like apricot while it's hot. And then as it cools, those flavors are going to soften to a nice honeydew melon and red plum. The aftertaste in this coffee, you're going to find that caramel again, and you're going to find a slight drying effect, much like a Concord grape. The acidity in this coffee is going to be a citrus acidity, much like a pink grapefruit. And the body is going to be a light to medium body with a smooth mouthfeel. This coffee is going to be wonderfully balanced. You're going to find those nice, bright and exciting notes of the grapefruit and the apricot up front and while it's hot. And then on the end, and as it cools, it's going to soften into that caramel and honeydew melon sweetness, wonderfully balanced throughout. Now, that all probably sounds amazing to you and me, but for a number of people that I was now training in wholesale, at best, they did not care about any of that. And at worst, they absolutely hated coffee. And so in order to get them to invest in their training and be able to connect with our coffee, I needed to find other avenues in which I could talk about the coffee with them. And so one of the ways that I'll talk to them about it is I'll talk to them about how it impacts their cafes and their businesses. And this always brings me to regulars, the financial backbone of any cafe. And I talk with them about how it's been shown that product quality and consistency is the other half of the equation when it comes to both creating and maintaining these regulars, along with a customer service. I also talked with them how it's been shown that it can be 6 to 7 times more expensive to create a new customer than it is to simply maintain an already existing one. And that after just a little bit of math, the loss of just one regular who might come in 3 times a week for a drip coffee can result in a loss of $300 to $500 in sales that year. Now, I realize that talking cold hard numbers can be something of a detached way to help people make a connection with the coffee. So another way I try to do it is by humanizing both the people and the places that make our coffee. And I do this by discussing issues that are happening at the origins right now. And I admit that at times this can be something of a mixed bag. For instance, the organization Grounds for Health recently expanded their East Africa women's health efforts into Kenya, and they've chosen to focus their initial efforts on the Nyeri region. The Hijimama factory alone has over 250 women on their workforce, and thanks to this organization, as of last year, over 60,000 women have been screened for cervical cancer, and 4,000 have been treated worldwide in coffee-producing countries. And I've provided their website on the bottom of your info cards, and I invite you to peruse that at your leisure as well. Now, this is obviously overwhelmingly positive, and definitely what I prefer to talk about. However, there's another issue at this exact same origin that's equally worthy of our attention, and that's in regards to the environment and water usage. According to the Water Footprint Network, when using old-style wet milling from seed to cup, it took approximately 37 gallons of fresh water for me to be able to brew each one of these cups of coffee for you here today. And since Kenya uses what's classically known as the double wash method, that number is potentially even higher. And while new methods are being explored to lower this number overall, we're still a ways off from where we would like to be ideally. Now, when I'm discussing this information with new baristas, new cafe owners, my only real hope is to be able to find out what it is that they care about, so that I can help foster and create a relationship that they find on their own with coffee. And luckily, coffee is multifaceted enough that it's usually not too difficult for everyone to be able to find some reason to appreciate it for one reason or another. So judges, as you drink your coffee here today, I invite you to just take a minute and reflect back on what makes coffee special to you and what your connection is to coffee. Thank you so much for your time, judges. Enjoy your coffee. Time.